Today, we're diving into a story that honestly sounds like it was ripped straight from a comic book, but it is devastatingly, gut-wrenchingly real. It comes from Mark Manson's book, Everything is Fucked, and it all starts in one of the absolute darkest places in human history.
And Manson doesn't pull any punches. Right from the get-go, he makes it clear. This is not some simple feel-good story. Nope, this is about staring directly into the abyss, confronting the absolute worst that humanity is capable of, and somehow finding something profound on the other side.
So, who is this hero? His name is Witold Pilecki. And get this, he was already a decorated war hero long before he did the unthinkable. He'd fought for his country against two invading totalitarian powers. Then he helped found the secret Polish army. But his greatest, most terrifying test was still to come.
Yeah, you heard that right. That was the mission his own superiors called suicidal. Pilecki volunteered to get himself arrested on purpose and be sent to a brand new, mysterious prison complex the Nazis had just built. Its name was Auschwitz, and his goal? To find out what was really happening inside and to organize a breakout from within.
Okay, let's really dive into this, because what Pilecki found inside that camp was a hell beyond anyone's darkest nightmares. And what he managed to accomplish in there, it's almost unbelievable.
So picture this, inside the camp, surrounded by daily executions, starvation, and torture. Pilecki didn't just survive, he built a full-blown intelligence network. He saved countless lives with smuggled supplies, and using a secret radio he literally built from spare parts, he sent out the very first eyewitness accounts of the Holocaust, pleading with the world that just couldn't believe it to do something, anything.
And that's the heartbreaking part. The truth was just too horrific. The reports coming out of Auschwitz described industrial-scale murders so vast that his own commanders and even Allied leaders like Churchill just couldn't wrap their minds around it. They thought he had to be exaggerating. So no one came. Help was not on the way.
So the huge question is, what on earth fuels a person to do something like this? The easy, obvious answer is hope, right? But Mark Manson argues that hope is way more complicated and, honestly, way more dangerous than we like to think.
Manson starts with what he calls the uncomfortable truth, and it's this. On a cosmic scale, we're basically nothing. We're just specks of dust. So our minds, to protect us from this crushing feeling of meaninglessness, they construct these elaborate stories of purpose. And that construction, that deep-seated need for meaning, is what we call hope. It's the fuel our brain needs just to keep going.
And this is where the paradox really hits you. Of course, hope drove Pilecki's heroism. But you know what else it drove? The Nazis' twisted quest for a master race, and the communists' dream of a global revolution. You see, hope, by its very nature, requires something to be broken. It needs a flaw to fix, an enemy to defeat. It can't exist without conflict.
This brings us to a really critical distinction that Manson makes. What separates a true hero, someone like Pilecki, from a person who's just brave or tough?
I mean, let's be real. Plenty of people have guts. Lots of people can endure incredible hardship. But that alone, that doesn't make you a hero. See, true heroism has this philosophical core to it. It's the incredible ability to create hope out of absolutely nothing, to light a match in a total void. And it's only possible because you're anchored to an unshakable cause, a profound why that goes way beyond your own survival.
Pilecki's why was a free and independent Poland. It was a cause so powerful that after he survived and escaped Auschwitz, he immediately started spying again, this time on the new Soviet-backed communist regime. And when they finally caught and tortured him for a year, he told his wife it was worse than the concentration camp. Think about that. His cause was more important than his own unimaginable pain.
So how on earth do we take lessons from such an extreme story and apply them to our own lives? You know, where our struggles are often less about physical survival and more about this creeping sense of meaninglessness. Well, this brings us to a really cool concept from the author Nassim Taleb, anti-fragility. The big idea is that some things don't just resist stress, they actually get stronger from it. The key, then, is to stop running away from pain and start engaging with it.
This creates a really clear choice. When we avoid pain and just chase pleasure, our world gets smaller. We become fragile, easily broken by life's inevitable chaos. But when we choose to engage with pain for the sake of a higher meaning, our world expands. We become stronger, more resilient. We become anti-fragile.
And this leads to a pretty wild definition of freedom. Real freedom isn't about having unlimited options for pleasure.
It's about consciously choosing what you are willing to suffer for. It's choosing your sacrifice, because that's where real meaning is found.
So, where does all of this lead? What's the final takeaway? Well, it's a radical, really challenging new way to think about how to live.
If hope is basically a transaction with the future, like I will endure this pain in order to get a better tomorrow, what's the alternative? The philosopher Nietzsche offered one. Amor fati, which means a love of one's fate. It's about accepting and maybe even loving everything that happens to you, the good and the bad, without needing it to lead to something better down the line.
And this is Manson's final prescription. It's so simple and so powerful. Stop pinning your happiness on a future that might never come. Act without the need for hope. Don't just hope for a better world. Choose to be a better person right now, in this moment, whatever the outcome.
And this brings us right back, full circle, to Witold Pilecki. At his Soviet trial, moments before he was sentenced to death, these were his words. He wasn't hoping for a last-minute pardon. He was expressing the deep joy of a life lived in perfect alignment with his values, a life where he had already chosen his sacrifices. He found meaning not in some better future, but in being the person he knew he had to be.
And so this explainer leaves us with a really powerful question. In a world that so often feels chaotic and broken, the path to a meaningful life isn't found by just hoping things get better. It's found by asking yourself, what matters so much to me? What is my why that I would willingly choose the pain that comes with it? What will I sacrifice for?